when everything fell apart. I was standing in the kitchen, staring at a sink full of dirty dishes and crying so hard I couldn't breathe. That was the moment everything hit me. The tiredness, the loneliness, the fear that I was failing. I slid to the floor, holding onto the edge of the counter, trying to keep my sobs quiet so Zara wouldn't hear. My chest ached, and the tears wouldn't stop. I felt like I was being swallowed up from the inside. My name is Kemi. I'm a single mum in London, raising my daughter Zara on my own. This story is about burnout, breaking down, and slowly building back up again, with help from the most unexpected places. I never imagined I'd end up here, but life doesn't ask permission before changing everything. It just does. And you're left trying to breathe in the middle of it. Zara's dad left us when she was just 3. He kissed her forehead, said he'd be right back, and never returned. I didn't know how to explain it to her. He's away for a while, I told her at first. Then I stopped pretending. One night she asked, "Mummy, is Daddy lost?" And I had no words. From that point, it was just me and her. Every choice, every responsibility, every consequence, on me. I had to become everything: mum, dad, provider, protector. I took a job as a care assistant. The hours were brutal: nights, weekends, holidays. But it was steady, and it paid enough to keep the lights on. Just enough. Sometimes I would wake up and not remember what day it was. Zara grew up fast, too fast. She learned how to warm leftovers, get herself ready for school, and even how to cheer me up. "You're the best mum in the world," she'd whisper when she saw me exhausted. I didn't feel like it. I felt like I was always one mistake away from letting her down. But she never stopped believing in me. One winter morning, I came home from a long shift and found her curled up on the couch, her forehead burning. I missed the school's calls, missed everything. My heart dropped. I scooped her up and rocked her like she was a baby again. My phone buzzed with work reminders, but all I could do was hold her and cry silently. That night, once she was asleep, I sat in the dark with a cup of tea I couldn't drink. "I can't do this anymore," I whispered. It echoed in my chest. I felt invisible, like I was screaming into a world that didn't see me. I wondered if this was how it would always be. Me, fighting to hold everything together, alone. At work the next day, Anita, a kind woman I barely knew, looked at me and said gently, "You look like you're carrying the world. You should come to church with me." Her voice was soft, not pushy. There was no judgment, just kindness. I nodded, not knowing if I meant it. That Sunday, I found myself at the Hilton Hotel at Canary Wharf. The church met in a conference room. I stood in the lobby, questioning every step. Was this even for me? Then I heard laughter coming from inside. I followed the sound, holding Zara's hand tight. People were singing, hands raised, clapping. It felt alive. I hadn't felt that in a long time. I sat at the back, near the exit, just in case I wanted to run. But something in me whispered, "Stay." And so I did. Then the pastor said, "Someone here is holding it all together for everyone else, but inside they're tired. Really tired." I froze. My body ached with every word. I felt like he had reached into my chest and pulled out my truth. I cried and didn't care who saw. After the service, Anita found me. She didn't ask why I was crying. She just hugged me. Then another woman hugged me too. For the first time in forever, I didn't feel invisible. I felt seen. I felt held. Zara loved the children's group. They had snacks, crafts, and songs. She made friends quickly. I watched her laugh from across the room, her whole face lighting up in a way I hadn't seen for months. It was like she'd found her own little safe space too. That Sunday when we left, she asked, "Can we come back next week?" I just smiled and nodded. Over coffee one afternoon, I told Anita everything about the fever Zara had, the missed calls, the guilt, and the loneliness. She didn't interrupt. She didn't try to fix it. She just listened. Then she held my hands and said, "You don't have to carry this alone anymore." And for the first time in a long time, I believed her. Life didn't magically get easier. I still had to count every pound. I still worked nights, but I stopped pretending I was okay when I wasn't. People at church would check in. They noticed when I didn't show up. They remembered Zara's name. That small care added up to something huge. It gave me breath. I began waking up just a little earlier. Not because I had to, but because I wanted some quiet moment. Just 10 minutes to sit, pray, breathe, sip my tea, and write in a notebook. It was my moment before the day roared to life. Some mornings, that peace carried me all the way through a double shift. At church, I started helping with small things, greeting people at the door, tidy up after service. I hadn't realized how much I needed to feel useful outside of work. It reminded me that I was more than a tired mum. I was part of something. One night after dinner, Zara looked at me and said, "Mummy, you laugh more now." Her words stopped me. I smiled and pulled her close. "That's because I feel lighter, sweetheart," I told her. And it was true. For the first time in a long time, the heaviness in my chest was lifting. The people at Dominion City Church didn't just say they cared, they showed it. A lady I barely knew dropped off lasagna one night with a sticky note. "You're doing great." Another offered to pick up Zara when I worked late. These weren't grand gestures. They were lifesavers. I started a small jar on the shelf labeled Future. Every week I'd add a few coins or a crumpled note. It wasn't much, but it was something. That jar became a symbol, proof that even in struggle we could still plan, still hope. One Sunday the pastor said, "Sometimes life doesn't take the storm away. It gives you an umbrella." That sentence stayed with me. I realized I was still in the storm, but I wasn't getting drenched anymore. I had shelter. I had people. Eventually, I shared my story one Sunday. I was terrified. My hands shook. But I told the truth about breaking down in the kitchen, about finding unexpected help. When I finished, people stood and clapped. A woman hugged me and said, "Thank you." That was my story too. One Friday night, Zara turned on music. "Dance with me, Mum," she shouted. We danced across the living room in our socks, spinning in circles, laughing so hard we both collapsed on the floor. For a moment, we forgot everything else. It felt like joy was living in our home again. I became close with 2 other mums at church. We made a little WhatsApp group, just us. We shared memes, recipes, rants, and prayers. Some days, a single message like, "You've got this," helped me survive the day. We called ourselves the 3 Strong Ones. Anita and I started walking by the Thames after service. Sometimes we talked. Other times, we just walked. Those silent steps were where I found a rhythm again. One day, she said, "You're not just surviving anymore, you know." I smiled and nodded. She was right. One afternoon, I found a photo of myself before Zara was born. I looked so young, so full of dreams. For a moment, I grieved that girl. But then I whispered, "You didn't disappear. You became something stronger." I put the photo in my journal, a reminder. Zara made me a drawing at school. It was me in an apron, flying above our flat, with the title, Supermum. She'd even drawn sparkles around my head. I laughed and cried at the same time. I hung it on the fridge. Every day I looked at it and felt proud. Our life still has challenges. There are still bills and long shifts. But now, we have rhythm. We have community. We have laughter and light and something to look forward to. I'm not just a burnt-out mum anymore. I'm Kemi. I'm growing. And I'm not alone. If you're tired like I was, if you feel like you're barely holding it all together, come. There's a seat waiting for you at Dominion City. I'll be there, saving it. And when you're ready, I'll welcome you home. You don't have to carry everything alone. Strength doesn't mean silence. And healing doesn't always look like miracles. It often looks like kind people, quiet mornings, and the courage to try again. You are not invisible. You are not broken. You are becoming. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it gave you something meaningful, whether for yourself or someone you care about. See you in the next story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share to help keep this community strong.